What's going on, Joe fans? This is Nicholas, also known as In Like Flint. I'm going to review the 1990 G.I. Joe Sky Patrol today. We're going to rate them once we've gotten to know them. I'm going to rate them two different ways. I'm going to rate them based on what the action figure looks like to me, how I would rate it compared to other action figures, or comparing these guys to each other. So it's just going to be, 1 through 6. Then we're also going to rate their file cards, because when I went through and did a rough draft of this video before I got Strato Viper, and I was like, okay, we're not going to complete the video until we've got everybody to compare to their original molds. So I held off. I decided to redo it. I thought of some funny shit while I was doing their file cards. So we'll go back. We'll look through those. If you want to follow along on yojo.com, what I'm going to be doing is going alphabetical order based on how they have them listed on there. But with the exception of Skydive here, who is the team leader. So I think he should go first. And quite honestly, he's got the most interesting file card out of all of them. So I think he deserves a little bit of extra consideration here. So we'll look at him. We'll compare him to the body that he has borrowed, because all of these guys are reissues. But again, when G.I. Joe does it right, I don't mind. There's certain bodies that sometimes they're an improvement over the originals. Sometimes, as we're gonna see here, they're not. So again, 1990 Sky Patrol. Their names are gonna keep messing with me a little bit, because we got 3 guys in a row whose names all start with A. And other than Airborne, none of them really stand out as anything spectacularly innovative or cool. These are all pretty awesome head sculpts, with the exception of Skydive, who's ugly. And we're going to address Static Line here when we get to him. Something a little bit off with him, and I'll show you. I'll show you when we get to him. So strap in, buckle up, whatever you got to do, and let's review these guys. So first off, we got Skydive here. Now, when I was collecting these guys, I didn't care about their weapons. I didn't care about their giant, ridiculously sized backpacks with the parachute gimmick. This actually came with, I think, Action Pilot, 1994. So I've got it here just to kind of show you, well, this is what they look like. I have a parachute somewhere. I'm not digging it out. I don't care. So this won't be as comprehensive of a review as some people would like, maybe. Oh, that's broken. But again, when I first got these guys back in the day, yeah, I wasn't really impressed with the giant backpack. It was cool once or twice, and then I just kind of threw it in a bin. So, Skydive. When we look at his file card, his code name is Skydive, obviously. He's the Sky Patrol leader. His file name is Linton N. Felix. His primary military specialty is Sky Patrol leader. His secondary military specialty is personnel administration. And his birthplace is Pensacola, Florida. So, primary military specialty, it just should have been something airborne. I mean, come on. Because when we get into his file card, you'll see. The personnel administration, either Larry Hama did that, or somebody is copying him and putting in quirky, less than important military specialties. But again, I don't know. Skydive spent 10 years on staff at the Ranger School in Fort Benning and earned a reputation for being the toughest NCO in the program. He would skip breakfast just so he wouldn't spoil his appetite for eating snakes and water bugs. A 20-mile forced march is a piece of cake for this guy. Ranger trainees hate his guts when he puts them through the ringer during the program. In time, most come to appreciate his devotion to train hard and fight easy, especially after they fought their first hand-to-hand battle. Sky Patrol operates deep within enemy territory, cut off from supply and support. There can be no margin for error when you're that far behind the lines. One mistake and you're history. Only a battle-hardened veteran can pull off a mission without a hitch. That's just the type of leader you'll get with Skydive, the most successful head knocker in the patrol. Now, that makes him sound frickin' awesome. That makes him sound like Duke or Flint or something. And I don't really remember much about what happened on the Deke cartoon, if these guys were even featured more than once or twice. They had an awesome little sequence in the opening credits. But I don't have any of their weapons. The reason I don't have any of their weapons or gear or helmets is it was more important to me a year or two ago when I decided I needed to collect these guys. I wanted the figures in good shape. Good paint, no discoloration, and no cracked elbows. So that was paramount, and I didn't want to spend a lot on them because I didn't know if I was really going to even like them. I'm glad I got them. There's a few specific helmets or guns maybe that I would like, but for the most part, I don't need their backpacks. Just putting a big, chunky, low-light backpack on them works pretty good. I really wish they came with something like this instead, like Crazy Legs or AVAC, where you just put a parachute pack on them that doesn't do anything except look like a functioning parachute pack that scales well with the figure. That would have been awesome. We didn't get that. His helmet is one of the good ones. His weapons are stupid. They're big and chunky and oversized and look a little silly. So for right now, he's just got a silver Hawk, no pun intended, Battlefield Commander's Hawk rifle. Now, again, mustache-wise, it's kind of ugly, but I think Payload did it better. But, I mean, he looks like an authority figure in the 80s. He looks like a cop or a firefighter. He looks like somebody in the military that would be an asshole to somebody else, to the main protagonist or whatever. I really wish, if we look at his original mold, I really wish they had put a map on there. I think the Gyro Viper did it better, but I do like this blue. I like the blue and the silver and the dark gray. The white, the white works for contrast, but overall it just looks kind of washed out and you lose some detail, and it just, I don't know. I don't think I like that as much. But overall, he's a decent looking figure. I like that blue. Next up, we have Airborne, who is not Airborne, obviously. I think there was a mix-up. I think he was supposed to be Airborne, but we'll come to that once we get to the file card. This was actually the only Sky Patrol figure I bought. Jed had the others. I played with them. I checked them out. The figures, not Jed. And I immediately ran out and bought this guy. because as a moody teenager, gray was my favorite color. And these 3 shades of gray made me ridiculously happy. That head sculpt is awesome. He looks more like he should be the leader. He looks like a Duke or Flint type. His file card is kind of stupid. But they gave him the code name of Airborne, but he's got a completely different regular name. He doesn't look anything like Airborne. I suppose if you wanted to, customize him, paint his hair black. I actually just stumbled across somebody recently who had painted his hair blonde and his hair black, and it looked pretty cool, but you just swap the heads. Actually, I should try that. But I always want to keep at least one version of a figure stock, so I don't have any extra Airborne version 2s lying around. But yeah, doesn't look anything like him. The final product, I don't believe it's intended to be the same character. But anyway, again, his helmet was awesome. I'd like to get his helmet again. I managed to get his rifle, so that made me happy. I like the black low-light backpack on him again because, yeah, looks big and bulky. Gives you a hint of what this did without this sitting on there. Although, out of all of them, I did like his particular backpack because, why? It was gray. Didn't like this stupid thing sticking off of there, but there's some people that you want to collect the figure. You want to collect everything that figure came with so they're complete. And I get it. And there's some figures I have to do that with. These guys are not that. Other than his rifle, most of their weapons stink. And a lot of them have weird accessories. Weird gimmicky guns. Derpy helmets. I'm still really glad I got them. If I could get them completed pretty cheap, yeah, I'd probably do it. I wouldn't display them with their backpacks, but it'd be nice to have them. But whatever. For right now, they're not the main focus. So you go away for right now, Airborne version 1. And let's check out his file card. Codename Airborne. Airborne is the Sky Patrol parachute assembler. His file name is Robert M6. Just like it sounds, SIX, not Nikki 6, just the number. Primary military specialty is the Sky Patrol parachute assembler. His secondary military specialty is battlefield medic. I don't feel like he should have been the medic. He doesn't look like a medic. He doesn't, again, he looks like a badass. I use this head for custom unmasked Snake Eyes. After the Payne brothers gave him a new outfit. Like it works better for post-plastic surgery reconstruction a la Dr. Hundkinder Snake Eyes. So he's a battlefield medic and a parachute assembler, and he was born in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. This is the most boring file card ever. When I got him, I was kind of irritated. All paratroopers pack their own chutes, so they'll have no one to blame but themselves if their canopies fail to open. Assembling a chute is another matter altogether. The maintenance of the canopy and shroud line is best left to a master rigger, and there isn't a man in the Army who knows more about the standard US T-10 parachute than Airborne. Once the patrol is safely on the ground, Airborne becomes their combat medic. He's a real lifesaver in more ways than one. Airborne is one of the most popular guys in the patrol. You have to like him. He makes sure your parachute opens every time you make a jump. Airborne is also the individual who has to go out, usually under heavy fire, to save you from an unfortunate encounter with a bullet or from a run-in with a landmine. Through thick and thin, Airborne is always there when you need him. Again, not to knock medics. I like Lifeline. I like Doc. Doc's a doctor. I like Stretcher. They have a specific look to them. He looks more like he should be Sky Patrol leader. His outfit, the way they've colored Lift Ticket's body, it just, I don't know, there's just something that looks more stern, more authoritarian. I don't know. But again, I love the way this figure looks. His file card just stinks. This body was cool. This head, not so much. This head obviously scales much better with the body. And one of the things I've done before I swapped his head back, because I needed him to look complete because I only had one Lift Ticket, was I put this head on Lift Ticket. And it looks freaking awesome. And I'm like, that's kind of how he looks on the the Sunbow cartoon. Lift Ticket, that is. So that worked for me. That was cool. But I was using the head for Hawk for a while. I currently have it on Snake Eyes, version 3, and I don't think I have any extras rolling around right now. But huge improvement. I like these more military colors. This head ruins it. But I love this gray on gray with silver. And then the black gun and the black backpack kind of give it the right balance. I wish I had his helmet. I don't have his helmet. I love that helmet. It was awesome. But, you know, the night is young. It's like 11 in the morning. It's not night. So, awesome figure, terrible file card. We've got so-so figure, awesome file card, awesome figure, terrible file card. Let's see what we do next. Now we've got, again, I got to triple check because we got 3 in a row that start with A. Airwave. This is like the aerial bots all over again. Jesus. So this figure, the colors are really bland, but I mean, it works for Desert Storm era. The hoses kind of throw it off and make it look a little silly, but I mean, I like Battle Force 2000. I don't mind some of the more fantastical, high-tech stuff, so it doesn't bother me that much, but it looks a little sillier compared to these other two. Same thing with these pieces of shoulder armor. That looks more like something the Zartan family would have. And then you got these silly gloves. This head is freaking awesome. I've used this head for a updated Flash custom, and I really like it. I don't know, the colors are weird. I wish there was a little bit more contrast. This dark brown, I like. But then we've got both this kind of light beige and then this darker tan. I don't know. I could be mixing them up, but it doesn't look as good. I've given him a black dusty version 2 or 3 rifle, and then a gray accessory pack low light backpack. I have his helmet. I'm not going to put it on because I don't trust it not to rub those eyebrows off. But it's a decent helmet. It would obviously look better with the flip-up visor. I kind of wish they all just came with the same helmet. That would kind of unite the team a little bit better. But comparing him to his original body, I think this worked better. Obviously, the silver faceplate, it looks better as a Cobra. Oh, they didn't paint his belt buckle. I don't like the, I get why they painted him lighter because that's a darker brown, but my brain tends to not like when straps are all painted one color on one mold and then it's broken up weird. I think I don't know how you would do that. Maybe make those silver instead. Make this the same dark brown as the rest of the belts and everything. Maybe black would have worked better. I don't know. But again, it's not a terrible figure. He's just bland. He's just really bland. I feel like there's just not enough dark on him. Maybe if he had a better camo pattern. Why am I putting him back? Let's get him back up here. So we got to read his file card still. And he's one of those ones. Is this one the one that's super blurry? Kind of. No, this one didn't pixelate too bad. Okay. So Airwave is the Sky Patrol Audible Frequency Specialist. They could have just put Radio Man. Like, I didn't care for his code name, but hearing that specialty makes me like him a little bit better. I love Breaker and Dial Tone. That kind of makes more sense with the hoses. You could trick yourself into thinking it's part of his communications rig or something. I don't know. Maybe give him Dial Tone's backpack, spray paint that silver. That might look cool. Because the thing that, yeah, they all come with parachutes, but they're not just parachutists. They're airborne rangers, basically. So the whole thing about them dropping behind enemy lines and being a unit, they're going to all have different specialties. I wonder if he would have made a better medic, though. And maybe make him the Radio Man. But it's a moot point now, but you know what I mean. So his real name is Cliff V. Mewett. He is the Sky Patrol Audible Frequency Specialist. That sounds a little convoluted. His secondary military specialty is Signal Corps Adjutant for JCS, Joint Chiefs of Staff. I can't say that. His birthplace is Louisville, Kentucky. Airwave can coax a signal through a shot-up PRC-77 receiver transmitter from the bottom of a rift valley during an electrical storm. He can improvise an antenna out of, this one's a little bit pixelated, out of a wire fence, I don't know what that word says. Something rods. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a military word I don't recognize or some out of use technical term. I don't know what that, clothesline? No, I don't know. It looks like it's CLOSNING. So I'm not sure what that word's supposed to be. It's pixelated just enough that it's thrown me off, and I don't think I have his original file card physically in hand. So whatever that word is, he can make an antenna out of a wire fence, rods, or claymore wire, and repair circuits using a bayonet and heat tabs for a soldering iron. Airwave's knowledge and skills aren't theoretical, they're absolutely practical where it counts the most, in the field. So that's interesting. That makes me think of him like Breaker or Short Fuse or something more technical, like Mainframe, you know? I tend to like those characters because I like the nerds, I like the techie guys, I like the engineers. But then this is where it gets... Once, on a simulated artillery spotting mission in a deserted industrial complex, Airwave's radio was totaled by enemy machine gun fire. Okay, if it's simulated, why is it getting... They using live ammo? What's going on there? Is it, oh, this tagged you as being hit, so you can't use that now? I don't know. The squad immediately wanted to scrub the mission and call it a day, but not Airwave, as mock shells, okay, exploded all around. This diehard maneuvered his way towards a semi-destroyed telephone booth. When inside, he adjusted the phone's circuitry and called his own artillery battery to relay the target coordinates on enemy positions. He believes that his job is defined by equipment. Oh my god, this is so pixelated. His job is not defined by equipment, but by problems and their solutions. Okay, there's no mention of the signal corps. That would have been cool to throw that back in. To do something with that. Because again, that's kind of an off reference. You know, we don't have any G.I. Joes that specialize in signal corps, like waving flags around or semaphore or whatever they're doing. That would have been interesting to learn more about, but nope. So, again, the beginning of his file card is decent. The figure is kind of bland. The file card falls apart at the end. And so I'm gonna label him as a bland figure with a half bland file card. Again, we're not doing the rating yet. We're gonna go through and rate them 1 through 6. And you're probably already gonna know who my favorite is halfway through, but that's okay. And who my least favorite is. But then we get to rate them on file cards too, so shut up, you don't know. You don't know nothing. Okay, we got another a-hole here. Starts with the letter A, doesn't help me. Altitude. Sky Patrol Recon Scout. Okay, I like his specialty right off the bat. I like his colors a little bit, but almost not quite, because he looks like a rotting caramel covered apple almost. I like the green and the brown, just maybe not those shades, but I do like the gold and the silver. To me, that looks more technical, that looks more Radio Man type of shit, and maybe he should have been Airwave. He's another one that has a fairly decent helmet and visor, but then his guns are stupid. I actually have his gun. Looks like it goes to the Constructicons. I don't like that. I think a missile launcher and a missile plug into it. That's the thing I hate. I forgot to mention his guns were oversized too, and had like weird magazines jutting out of them in various angles. This head is awesome. This is an awesome head sculpt. Looking all strack with the flat top. But I'm wondering, was he supposed to be airborne? Different type of Native American, I believe. I'm not going to dig his file card out right now, but he's a Navajo. His original mold, Slipstream, it's hit and miss. There's things I like about Slipstream, but those colors are bland. His head is gigantic. With both of them, with the body being one color, the shoulder things being another color, and then the sleeves being either the same color, or it's hard to tell what the hell is going on. If it's a flight suit, what color is it? Is it layered? Is this shoulder armor? Is this just padding? Here it looks like short sleeves. It's hard to tell. When you look at him with the entire wave he came out with, it fits better. Like his style and his coloring and everything. But I think Altitude is a more visually interesting figure, darker colors. So if we look at his file card, is this one that's blurry? No, this one looks pretty cool. His helmet looks completely different on there than what the figure came with. What the hell? And I forgot this too. I think they mixed up the names because 6 for him, was that misspelled? Was that supposed to be Sioux? No, because he's Navajo. So unless someone was just throwing Native American words that sounded similar and not really caring what went with what. But again, his name is Edward O. God damn it. John Edward O. Jones. That sounds like a white man. Could he be mixed? Yes. We're going to come upon that again here in a little bit when we get to him, with the last name not matching the purported ethnicity of what the figure looks like, coupled with what the sculpt looks like. So it'll be a touchy area, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So John Edward, he's got a hyphenated first name. Right off the bat, douchebag to me. No, I'm kidding. But why overcomplicate it? Come on. John Edward, and then we give him an awkward sounding initial for his middle name to say. John Edward O. Then Jones. His primary military specialty is Sky Patrol Recon Scout. Okay, I love that. I love scouts. I love people doing recon. I love it when there's the guy that sneaks through, the hilly brush, spies on the enemy, comes back, and reports. But then it gets a little bit silly. And as someone who draws, you think I would have liked this as a kid, but I think a lot of the reason I didn't buy some of these guys as a kid, you've got limited funds, you're saving up your lunch money and not eating and buying figures instead of food, not telling your parents. And then you're looking at the figure and you're reading the file card. Now for him, I didn't care. I just wanted that figure. But for the rest of these guys, I'd read their file cards and I'd be like, So his secondary military specialty is combat artist. We'll get there. Birthplace is Cambria, California. I don't remember if the other guys had their grade listed. Grade E9, Sergeant Major of the Army. Okay. And this is where it gets a little obnoxious. Being a full-blooded Apache Indian and the son of a famous Hollywood stuntman, Altitude had a lot to live up to. Altitude was gifted with both a photographic memory and a talent for drawing. After his budding artistic career in the animation industry was shortened by the collapse of syndicated cartoon programming, he decided to embark on a new career in the military. He's the first G.I. Joe ever to combine two totally different specialties, reconnaissance and combat artistry, and make them work. So I don't know if that's Larry Hama being cute, commenting on something in the industry at the time, or if this was written by somebody else trying to imitate Larry. I don't know. But this is where it gets silly. This is where it's like, why don't you just bring Scoop along, or Sneak Peek? The principal job of a scout is to bring back information. The more detailed the information, the better. Altitude can sneak up on an enemy installation, thoroughly observe it for a few days, and not even be spotted. After he has gathered enough information, he quietly leaves his observation post to return to headquarters. Once there, he uses his recall abilities to sketch the installation in exact detail. He is so good that the Sky Patrol uses his sketches instead of maps because they're that precise. Whatever. You just take pictures. Or, why aren't you drawing while you're out there? Why are you taking a chance? I don't care how good your memory is. Could still be fallible. You could still miss something. Oh, he's drawing us a picture. Everybody gather around. I don't know. He's still a cool looking figure. But, you know, while it's nice to get another Native American, Spirit had more of a Caucasian flesh tone too. Airborne is darker. His hands are a little too dark. It actually looks pretty good on camera, but in person it doesn't quite look right. It looks more almost like gloves. On camera, the tone is actually looking pretty good. So that's good. But again, that name has nothing to do with Native Americans. So I think it's a mix-up. I think the last name Six, I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm thinking that was supposed to go to him. I'm thinking the code names, the file names got mixed up. Maybe even the specialties. I don't know. Again, it's a cool looking figure, cool idea. The file card kind of falls apart. They do the stuntman stuff, but he doesn't do anything stuntman related. Just that he had a lot to live up to. So it's a middle of the road, middle tier kind of thing. His color scheme wins him over for me. And typically anybody with black hair, because I have black hair, jives with me more. So, not terrible. Okay, looking at Drop Zone now. I hate that name. I don't know. Drop Zone reminds me of AutoZone or something sports related like Captain Gridiron. I know it's not supposed to be, but I mean, it just, something about the name just doesn't jive right. His colors are freaking awful. On the Strato Viper, this mold looked badass. Again, as a desert themed trooper, it could work. Maybe if he had some camouflage on him, maybe just a different shade of this toffee colored brown, and then you've kind of got this another kind of dark brown, slightly darker brown than Airwave. I remembered his name, look at that. But the gray kind of doesn't go. I think he was another one that had stupid weapons. His helmet looked cool. I think his helmet is, other than those details, those ribbed for her pleasure details. I think he's got the same visor. But I'd probably like him better with the helmet. This head... I like fugly G.I. Joe heads, just because they have character. This looks like Sam Donaldson, kind of. But I don't like it on this body. But something about the chest and the buttons reminds me of kind of like a Western-coated character, like Rio Blast from Motu, or Sundown from Cops, or Bravestar. So I gave him these two Dr. Mindbender pistols. I wish they were silver or black, but it's fine for right now. I never had Stratoviper until about a week ago. That looks so much better. Cobra pulls off... Cobra can get away with crazier outfits, more stylish. Oh, the codpiece extend. Yeah, see, maybe if they colored that, that would have looked slightly less derpy. I don't know. It's just the color balance is off. Some things are painted on one that aren't painted on the other. Wrist gauntlets are turned into gloves. We got chaps again. Or not chaps, but we got the air bladders or whatever that are supposed to squeeze your legs and keep you conscious by forcing the blood back up into your body, rather than down there where you don't need it at the time when you're pulling high Gs. But Stratoviper did it better. Stratoviper looks badass. Yeah, this is another one that has a weird gimmicky waist piece gun that Heavy Duty did so much better. Again, these guys are not fighting from parachutes. The parachutes are a means to an end to get them to where they need to be, and they're Rangers. I feel like he would have made a better medic. Not in these colors, but something about his head and his demeanor. He looks a little more medic-y or doctor-y. So again, I wish there was some more balance with the overall color schemes for them. Not repeating colors. We've got blue, gray, tan, green, and brown. But then he's kind of like a... these three together kind of blur together and don't look right. I think they're the weakest. They bring each other down. That's what I think it is. And then we go back to another bright, high contrast, extra silver color over here. So maybe if he had more black on him, and we didn't have light gray with these ugly browns and this toffee color. But again, I like that head. It's funny that on the card art, he doesn't look anything like that. He looks younger and more brash. And speaking of card art and his file card, is this one that's blurry? No, okay, it must have been Airwaves that I was traumatized by. So this is Drop Zone. This is Drop Zone. He's the Sky Patrol weapons specialist. Okay, it's kind of generic, but kind of cool. Like, what are we talking about here? His real name is Samuel C. DeLisi. It just sounds too much like delicious. Sky Patrol weapons specialist. Secondary military specialty is Special Forces Advisor. That sounds fucking awesome. And the way his card art, his file card looks, he's like yelling. Okay, so this guy would drop in, maybe by himself ahead of time and train the indigenous peoples on how to resist the local totalitarian regime. That sounds badass. We don't get any mention of anything like that in here. His birthplace is Potah, Oklahoma. His grade is E8. So I think the grades were on some of these. I just wasn't seeing them. It wasn't standing out. Drop Zone loves his job. Every olive drab bit of it. Where's his olive drab? He is at his best when the cold wind hits his face as soon as he steps out of a C-130 transport at 20,000 feet. He relishes the smell of gun oil and nitro solvent on his MAC-10, where he didn't come with a MAC-10. The sound of artillery rounds soaring overhead is music to his ears. He still can't believe that he actually gets to pay. He gets paid to have this much fun. It's all generic, just gung-ho, like, okay, wrong branch, but just die hard. I'm in the army, I kick ass, and I like getting shot at. Like, it doesn't go with his specialty. Just because he volunteers for every hazardous assignment doesn't qualify him for a special commendation. Okay. That's kind of rude. This guy is fully aware of all the cruel realities that accompany a battle. His main concern is to successfully complete the mission to the best of his ability. Drop Zone is a true G.I. Joe dogface. He believes that duty and honor still have meaning in today's complex society, and that Cobra is lower than Pawn Scum. That sounds just like generic crap somebody pulled out of their ass because they didn't know how to write a file card like Larry Hama. Now, maybe Larry wrote this one, and I'm a terrible person for bashing this one, but it's nothing ties together. There's three different things going on there. Special Forces advisor, maybe he should have been the leader. That sounds frickin' badass. That should be combined with the frickin' whatever your name is over here. Damn it. So, bland, horrible looking figure, great head sculpt. Drop Zone, they drop the ball on your file card because it's just a bunch of just random generic stuff thrown together that any one of those things for any other character probably would have been cool if it was fleshed out more in greater detail. That would have made me like you and go, oh, okay, this is what I can do with this figure. This is why I would buy him. But we don't see him on a, maybe on Deke. I mean, from the people that brought you Metalhead. So, I don't know. Again, these guys would have looked so much better with just random. Just this backpack in different colors. Red, blue, silver, black, white. This parachute pack in different colors on these guys would have been so awesome. But no. So, you can guess where he's probably going to rate. Moving on. So, Static Line. He's one of the ones I do have a helmet for. He looks awesome. I kind of wish this was all blue with just gray accents down here. It would have tied him together better, made it look like an actual, like maybe flight suit or paratrooper suit or something. I don't know. But I like the colors. I like the blue with the silver. That looks really good. In his card art, his helmet actually looks like it should have just been backstops, because it has a visor, but the visor seems to be permanently flipped up or just smaller than this would look. I don't know if they skimped and just decided, no, we're going to make this all one piece to save money or what, but it doesn't fit on him that good. He's got a long head and a long neck, but it's also undersized at the same time somehow. And it kind of looks cool. I feel like... Oh my god. That looks badass. Holy shit. That looks like more of a high-tech paratrooper. Damn, that looks awesome. Okay, timeout. Well, shit. I was thinking we were going to buy a bunch of these. Oh, Skydive, that's his name. Or a bunch of Skydive's helmets and put them on everybody. As bad as this looks on Static Line, and again, that name is really hard to say. I mean, it's kind of similar to Ripcord, but okay. Now, after seeing it on other figures, even with the ET neck going on, still showing, and his chin jutting out, that makes me like this a lot better. The black and the silver are doing it for me. And that is ridiculously freaking awesome. Okay, I gotta do some experimenting then. I gotta buy some extra helmets for these guys then. Try out a few different combinations and see what works best, and maybe that'll help unite the team. The backpacks tie them all together nicely. The alternating between black or silver for the weapons works as well, except for his kind of gold weapons. Well, while we're looking, I don't think that's gonna. That doesn't work as good. It fits okay, but there's not enough black or silver on him to bring it together like I would like. I could always get extras of these and repaint them in different colors too. That looks cool too, but it's not quite undersized, but I think if it was slightly chunkier and had a working visor, I think that would look better. Maybe that in gold, matching this, would tie together even better. I don't know. Whoops. Now, will it improve him? Actually, yeah. Something about the gray on there and the way the flight suit is detailed. That actually works. It's not as good as it looks on other figures, but it still works. It just doesn't match everything as well. Maybe paint it this brown or this gray. Okay, Whistles. Can we not? Thank you. Okay, so anyway, this may be kind of touchy. It's not meant to, and we'll get to his name, but I initially liked this sculpt until I looked at it on camera. And I don't think my eyes are getting that bad, but I notice more things on camera sometimes than I do with the naked eye, with or without glasses or contacts in, or both. As a kid, just his flat top being a little bit bigger than his just looked a little silly. And I thought it looked like Kid and Play or something. I don't even think it's as high as Bulletproof's. But when you look at him up close, I don't feel like those are African American features. Now, without getting into horribly racially stereotyped territory, there are certain traits that some people have and other people have that are different. To me, he would look mixed, or like they just took a mold intended for a white guy and just made the plastic darker. So I'm going to pause this for a second. The reason I bring this up is because his last name is Balducci, which is Italian. I'm Italian. When I look at him close up now and I look at that nose, is this even going to focus right? I could see Italian. It could also just be generic white guy. It could also be mixed. It's not really important information that should be on a file card, but that's what I gotta do for my headcanon. Because when I put him next to some other figures, which maybe they are sculpted well, maybe they are racist caricatures, it's hard to say. But I'm gonna compare those really quick just to show you what I'm talking about. And how, after looking at all of these figures, and they're all white dudes, except for one person that's supposed to be Native American, but doesn't quite look like that. I'm wondering if this was a last minute change that they felt they needed to. And this wasn't really a word back then, but I know the word carries some political charge to it now. But so diversify the subline a little bit. And I felt like they would do this with, there's no other way to say it, ethnic characters, or with female characters in the original line. We've got the bulk of the characters looking like this. We're going to throw in one of this and one of that because we want to sell more toys. Maybe they had higher-minded ideals. I mean, looking at the entire G.I. Joe line, it's way more, has way more, I can't use inclusivity or diversity without sounding like more current, politically charged current times. And I don't like that. I don't like that I'm shying away from that word. But I'm also trying to not make it sound like, I don't know. You'll see what I mean here in a second. Let's pause this. I'm going to go grab some other figures that have specific looks that work. Okay, this is going to kind of take over the video and I'm running out of room, but it's to illustrate a point, just something I noticed. And it's just weird to me. So, looking at his file card, and that took so long, my screensaver kicked in. So static line. Static, oh come on, you can't enlarge. There we go. Okay, I got this. So looking at static line's file card, the first thing I notice is, and people can have random names for random reasons. Now, when I look at his file card art, he doesn't look anything like his figure. Wallace J. Balducci. That sounds Italian to me, so he could be mixed. And why would that be important to his file card? You wouldn't see that in there. But Wallace J. Balducci, he is the Sky Patrol demolitions expert. His secondary military specialty is aircraft maintenance. That's interesting. The demolitions and the maintenance, like, But they don't really tie it together. They don't say anything interesting coming up. And they go off on some random tangent with other things. God, this is crooked. It's bugging me. Okay. So he's born in Chicago, Illinois, grade E7. And, you know, I'm dyslexic with letters and numbers, dyscalculic. So I'm not always going to remember what grade, what ranking something is, unfortunately, or what I just read for somebody else. So I tend to go by specialties. This is all, special forces. And one of the things that people use for their own headcanon as to why a first sergeant is field leader of the G.I. Joe team when Flint or Ace or Wild Bill or, other characters outrank him. It's like, yeah, I get it. So, whatever. That's a whole other rabbit hole to go down later on. Anyway, Static Lines file card says the common perception of a demolitions expert is a guy who blows things up. Static Line does the opposite. He prevents things from destruction by defusing them or rendering them inert. This is an extremely valuable skill if your unit conducts strikes behind enemy lines that are probably mined and booby-trapped with high-impact, motion-sensitive firing devices. Static Line has an... Okay, that's the good part. But we don't get to expand on that. We don't get to go into him being like the anti-Firefly. We don't get to see how he would maybe... This would make me want to pair him with Tripwire and Tunnel Rat doing EOD work. But this, Static Line has a nose for finding hard-to-find things such as money. He picks $5 bills off sidewalks in front of movie theaters, 20s from the supermarket checkout line, or even loose change that people carelessly pull out of their pockets. Is he lucky? No. He is just the type of person who constantly examines every square inch of ground before he steps on it. That would have been more appropriate for the recon artist guy, whatever his name was. I don't even remember now. It's not important. But again, there's so many interesting or uninteresting things they could have put in or compared or combined that just don't go together. So, back to my issue with his sculpt. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of. Not Robert Duvall, but who is that actor that was in The Abyss? I believe he was also in the HBO series for Ed Harris. Those cheekbones and that nose look a lot like Ed Harris. Just maybe when he was younger with a hairline and not balding. It looks like a Caucasian head sculpt to me. Now again, could be mixed. And this is what I wanted to go into, because are some of these appropriate, detailed, accurate sculpts, or are they caricatures? Or is that just the limitations of the toy line at the time of the technology? You're sculpting something, you're shrinking it down. But as we're going to see here, there's some that look like nice, normal, non-inflammatory, non-offensive sculpts. There's other ones that just kind of bland, or other ones that just, we've got like 3 different sculpts for Roadblock. I've got 4 different sculpts for Stalker, so it's not an exact science. So looking at like Bulletproof and Colonel Courage, we're seeing like what was a sign of the times. Okay, mustache or beard. There was always people of multiple colors having mustaches or beards. But again, that's like a full beard. And then you've got this flat top that looks a little better, a little more detailed, I think, because of the texture of the hair, looking like what they were going for. It works better. It's slightly higher, it's a different shape, but it doesn't look as silly as this. This looks like Dolph Lundgren hair. This looks like Dolph Lundgren in blackface cosplaying as Kid and Play or something. I don't know. Or Ed Harris. So I don't think he was intended to be African American. If we look at, Stalker, One of the very first ones. And actually, I'm going to grab, it's very similar, but I'm going to grab my straight arm stalker because I don't have a vintage swivel arm stalker. I have the one that came with the Transformers crossover Bumblebee Striker. Okay. I can't even get this in here, can I? Nope. We're knocking stalkers over. So, just based on how silly some of the original 13 head sculpts looked, this is really good. He's a little cartoony, but I think it's for what it was at the time, and compared to how generic the other figures looked in the line, it was basically him, Snake Eyes, and Scarlet that had unique heads, and that was it. Everybody else was reusing the same 3 heads over and over with different hair color, sometimes. And if we look at the reissue, really the only difference is just the sheen of the plastic. It's not as shiny, but the details are still there. So I think for what they were going for at the time, and this could even be, I know he was supposed to be based on Larry Hama's friend, who he also based John Wraith from the Wolverine comics and one of the Wolverine movies on. I mean, it could be based on photos of him. So, to me, that's a really good specific sculpt that doesn't drift into like a racial caricature or something. I'm knocking people over. But if we compare all the stalkers, and this is, I do not have enough room here. Okay. If we compare all the stalkers, okay, you know what? Let's make some room. You saw everybody together. I'll pull people out one at a time. Let's see here. Come on, Baducci. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, there we go. These are all intended to be the same character. Lonzo Wilkinson. Oh my god. I'm bumping the camera. Stalker. They don't look anything alike. Version 2 looks pretty rugged, but the eyebrows and the mustache make him look a little derpy. But I still like this figure. Version 3, we're getting a little bit into like silly. He's a little over the top. I don't think it's problematic though. But he's a little too action-y with that snarl. The expression, otherwise, the eyebrows and the eyes, his nose, his beret, everything else looks really good. But that sneer or whatever he's doing always looks silly to me. But then this one, man, he looks old. None of the features are the same. Mustache got worse. This one was better. This one was just longer and more manly. This almost looks like World War I or II. Like, I mean, it's not that, it's a couple millimeters off from being a Hitler, really. It's just too narrow, too, I don't know. This one's too square and just looks like disheveled old man. I hate this sculpt, but I had to get it because it's Stalker. I had to get all versions of Stalker. If we look at Hardball, it's kind of bland, kind of generic, but again, it works. Again, we've got a bad mustache, but I think the features work. And look at the texture on the hair. They both actually have correct texture for the time, for what type of hairstyle would have been in. Same thing with Heavy Duty. Again, look at how rugged his ass looks. I was mentioning now Iceberg, little soft on the sculpt, little generic, but he kind of looks like OJ. Kinder, gentler, Airplane, or Hertz Rent-A-Car OJ, you know, before the knife work. I forgot to mention Doc. I know people have said he was intended to be short fuse. The hair is a little smooth and generic, but the features look racially appropriate. It doesn't look like they just took a mold intended for a blonde white guy and put him in blackface, as it were. Like I'm thinking happened with Static Line here. So I don't see how this would have been short fuse. Just because he has sunglasses. Maybe he was resculpted. Maybe that's the point they're trying to make. And going back to multiple characters with different sculpts. Wait for it. Wait for it. All three of Roadblock. The ears were really soft and indistinct. It throws off the shape of his head. His eyes look kind of crazy, but it works. This one has a better overall shape, but again, I like more neutral expressions. And when you're painting the entire mouth white and missing the teeth, it doesn't look right. But again, these don't even look like the same character. The only thing tying them together is that you know they're Roadblock, and he's got the mustache and the soul patch going on there. Get out of the way. Stretcher? At first, I was gonna think. It's hard to say. Again, could be mixed. But it almost looked like... No, that's not hair. That's the Rabina. There's his hair. It's hidden on this side because of the earpiece. So the only hair you can see is there. It's not much texture. I thought for a second that was just lines of hair, but no, that's padding on the helmet. So again, kind of like Hardball, It's a little generic, but it doesn't feel off or anything. I think these are the last two I wanted to compare. DJ could go either way. I've seen this face whitewashed for some international figure from Brazil or Argentina, I can't remember which, where he's a bad guy, and it still worked. So it's just generic enough, like scrap iron, that it could be racially ambiguous. Doesn't make it bad. Now, looking at the fridge, could that be considered a bad caricature? Well, yes, but it's also they're trying to look like a specific person. They're trying to shrink it down. And if you've seen, at least back then, William Perry, it's, for the size it is, this is a decent likeness. Giant neck and all. But again, when you look at William Beducci, this is looking like Ed Harris to me. So with the last name, I'm going to just assume he's mixed. That's how I'm going to retcon it and not treat it like there was a Hasbro Bespin security guard from like the Saga or Legacy collection about 10 or 15 years ago that I was buying extras of for parts, and it didn't look like any of the characters shown in the movie. It just looked like they took a random head that was probably intended for an Imperial, used darker plastic, and it made him look more Indian, really, but it just... I think I used a movie ripcord head on that body with a Bespin Guard helmet or hat, and he looked awesome. So, yeah, I don't know why I went off on this tangent. It was just bugging me once I saw the sculpt up close. Not trying to be political, not trying to sound woke or apologist or anything like that. It's just something my OCD picked up on and I had to run with because it wasn't making any sense. That's Ed Harris. All right, what the hell am I even talking about here? Oh yeah. Hey, Sky Patrol. Anyways, getting back to Static Line. Name is stupid. Figure looks better. File card is half good. But the head is what throws me off. And I'm wondering, bear with me a moment here. I have an extra bulletproof rolling around somewhere, but I can't find him right this moment. I had stuck his head on an orange wetsuit before just to make another diver character, and it looked freaking awesome. But if we do this, is this gonna fit? Oh, that looks so much better. It's not gonna fit though. Neck is a little too big. Head actually looks a little too big for the body. So not quite working, but that's a better more detailed, more specific sculpt on Bulletproof's head. And what we got there. All right, put him back in front of the camera. Come on. All right. One thing we didn't get around to. So probably a definite improvement, but I don't know. While I don't care for the colors used, I like the way the colors kind of balance each other out. The red, green, yellow, gray. I just don't like these pants, I think, is the problem in that color. Maybe if they had been black or they had been blue with just the boot covers in that light gray, it would have looked better. So I think as stupid looking as his yellow pants are, I think Backstop did it better. All right. So that was an interesting frickin' sidetrack there. I don't know. You tell me. Let's pause this for a moment. Okay, so now I want to rate these guys. We've spent some time on these figures, and how do they rate? Who's in last place? I think you can guess. Or maybe I'll surprise you. Drop Zone. Drop Zone, you suck. His colors are awful. You look like you're made of caramel. You look like you're gonna stick to my teeth and make me angry. Drop Zone is number 6, last place. Who's number 5? Runner up to last place? Airwave. There's a bland figure. You're not Dusty or Chocolate Chip Camo Duke. No. These colors on this mold look like shit. Just like Drop Zone. Those colors on the Strato Viper mold look like shit. Now, that's 6th and 5th place. 4th place is where it starts getting a little difficult. I know who's coming in at 1st place. You probably do too. So, salutations. Well done, you. But if I had to pick somebody for 4th place now, am I gonna go by sculpt or colors or head or like what? For 4th place, I'm gonna go with the Balducci boy here. Not because of problematic issues. What is that frickin' what is that? Don't do that. In the end, having the silver armor and silver shoulder guards looks silly. I mean, it looked silly on him too, but it's toned down a little bit. I don't like his pants. Also, why has he got it like the afterthought on there? They didn't even all have the Sky Patrol logo on them. But yeah, the leader doesn't have it on him. Everybody else has it on their arm. Except for Skydive. But that is just an afterthought. I know there's nowhere else to put it. It's not going to show up there. but then just leave it off like you did on Skydive. So I think he gets 4th place. 3rd place. This one's a little bit easier. Get out of here, Skydive. The colors could have been better. The silver looks good. The dark blue looks really good. The white screws it all up. He doesn't have the Sky Patrol logo on him when he's the leader. I mean, if they're going to put that on his stomach, they could have just put it right here on his crotch. I mean, who gives a shit at that point, right? It's on there. So, and that head is ugly. So Gyro Viper beats you to it. Gyro Viper was better. Get out of here, Skydive. Stealing a code name from a Transformer. Now, coming down to these two. They're kind of connected. Their file cards, their code names, their whatever could have been swapped. I'm just going on what does the figure look like? Would I buy this figure? And, you know, the only figure I bought, we already talked about. So, Altitude, you're going in 2nd place. You look cool. I love this silver and gold, but the rotten caramel apple color scheme nudged you out of the top spot. But your runner-up, you got 2nd place. That's got to count for something. So, of course, 1st place, Airborne, not Airborne. The 6 boy, the parachute assembler. Again, though, with how just this, he looks like he should have been the leader. Everybody else has colors. He's all drab and gray with silver. He looks better with his helmet. I need to get his helmet for certain. Maybe I'll look some of that stuff up on eBay today. So, number 1. Now, when we look at the file cards, though, I think that's going to be a little different. I think it's going to be a little flipped. Yup. So, Robert M6, if that is your real name. And maybe when I look at the file card, maybe it's not. I might have forgotten already. Enjoy your time in the number 1 spot, because it ain't gonna last. All right, so after putting everybody back and clearing off my desk again, picking up weapons, putting them back in people's hands, we're ready to rate the file cards. And like I said, some of this will be a surprise, some of this probably will not be. So, right off the bat, we're gonna just jump into it here. Are you ready? Drum roll. Yeah, Airborne. The idea of the parachute assembler being important to the team could have been cool if it was handled right. If they made him seem more obsessive compulsive, more finicky, and what is going on with that file card art there? With that card art. He looks deranged. So I don't want that guy being a medic coming across the field to me. Again, he should have been the team leader. This file card sucks. It's in last place at number 6. And again, like a lot of Sky Patrol, there's a mishmash of good things and stupid things that just don't work. So Airborne's file card is at number 6. Who's at number 5? Well, again, this is, oh, I just gave it away. Well, this is where it starts getting a little convoluted. The middle 3 or so are kind of interchangeable almost, but I had to go with Airwave. Again, I normally like the technical guys. This card art is terrible. His face looks stupid. It looks like he's wearing a helmet full of piss. I don't know what face he's making, but yeah. The idea of the technical guy being the smart one that can jury rig anything out of anything, I would normally like that. But it's half-assed. It doesn't flesh out enough. It doesn't go into enough detail, like a training exercise. Why can't he be in an actual combat mission where he saved people's lives? And why not make him the medic on top of being, I don't know, like combining that. So again, we just spent too much time on dowsing rods. Like, I don't know what the hell that word is. Cleaning rods? When I look at it on my phone screen, it clears it up a little bit. It looks like cleaning rods. What does that mean? Is that some military parlance for something, like something you'd clean a musket out with, like in the Civil War? I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. But stupid ideas, stupid examples. The Signal Corps thing is brought up but never fleshed out. So, Airwave, you could have been last place. But Airborne's sucked just a little bit more. Altitude. Coming in at number, what are we at, 4? Yeah, we were at 6, 5. 4 is Altitude. Again, his picture makes him look a little cool, but derpy. But he looks like a 1930s, like action, like sci-fi serial. Like, I'd almost expect to see antenna sticking out on either side of his helmet as earpieces. Looks nothing like the helmet he comes with. The visor's too small. But I like the way he looks. His name makes no sense for the nationality. They're touting him as being Apache Indian, but his last name is Jones. So again, could be mixed. I think it's a fuck up. I think hair color was swapped with Airborne, code names were swapped. I think initially he was going to be, because why wouldn't you do this? You're going to have a team full of Airborne Rangers. Why wouldn't you put the original character Airborne in there? Why not make him team leader? And not a parachute assembler. And not a blonde guy. I don't know. So this stuntman shit could have been cool too, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't come up again. There's nothing there. And the recon scout was cool, but the drawn pictures kind of maybe he should have been last place. I don't know. So we're at 6, 5, 4. Who's number 3? Drop Zone. This is where it got a little tougher. Weapon specialist, that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't mean shit. But the idea of him being a special forces advisor was cool. Again, maybe something for the team leader. Dropping in. I'm going to set things up for the team. I'm going to get us some help. I'm going to get us some allies. You guys come in afterwards and we'll put the plan together. I don't know. But this quote at the end is stupid. It sounds like it should go with a completely different character. Maybe the stuntman. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening here. I don't know if some exec at Hasbro was like, mix these up. Mix these around better. I don't know. But Special Forces Advisor is cool. His card art is cool. He looks like Flint or Captain Gridiron or something. He looked like a big Oklahoma boy. I don't know what that means, but he could have been cool. Nope. So who comes in at number 2? Static Line. Looking more ethnically correct here. Card art doesn't really match him, like I said. But that helmet looks awesome with the visor up. It doesn't look as good on him in toy form. But the reason he gets bumped almost to first place is because of the demolitions expert thing. Having a demolitions expert on a team that's parachuting in is fucking awesome. I like that idea. Where they lose me is the whole finding money. Like, why are they comparing him to like some random tweaker walking down the street looking for cigarette butts, looking at every crack on the ground? Pun intended. I don't get it. So that shit made no sense. It had nothing to do, again, with the demolitions thing. So one of the things that some people pick apart is how a certain character will have a code name, a specialty, and then they were born specifically for that specialty, or born in the opposite climate, and that's why they like that specialty. It's contrived, but it's pulpy sci-fi action shit, and it works. This doesn't work. Who gives a fuck that he finds a $5 bill on the sidewalk and he knows how to not blow things up or stop them from blowing up? It doesn't work. So, again, the idea was there. The execution was shit. Who do we have in the number one spot? Well, who do you think? Skydive. He sounds like a fucking badass. That card art looks stupid. That looks like Mutt. Looks like Mutt's unhappy about jumping out of a airplane with a dog strapped to him. Like, his card art looks stupid. But again, his file card makes him sound cool. It makes the whole team sound cool. Because the way the team is sold, the way the vehicles are presented, it's a subline. It's a gimmick. It's chrome-plated vehicles that have really nothing to do with airborne insertion. But reading this, if I had seen this file card first, this would have probably made me like the team more and want to get them and ignore some of the bad stuff. And that didn't happen. So, I don't know. He sounds like a badass. He sounds like on the same level as Hawk being an asshole in the comic, or Duke being an asshole in the comic. I don't know. The leaders were usually gruff, no nonsense. You know, Duke and Flint on the cartoon have a little more charisma, but they can still be hard asses, but not as much as in the comic. And Hawk got softened a lot. Hawk was, you know, a total asshole in the beginning. He had to be. Keep his men alive. And then they just kind of like, go have a desk job. I don't know. So Skydive gets the number one spot. Now, the one thing I left out of this video, the vehicles, was probably the most important thing to most people. I didn't really want any of them. I actually had the opportunity to buy a Sky Patrol Skyhawk the other day, and I thought about getting it. It was in great shape. It was $50. I'm glad I didn't, because I found swivel arm snake eyes the next day that, you know, I wanted more. So that worked out well. But I figured if I bought the Skyhawk for Sky Patrol, then I got to get the Sky Shark. Then I'm halfway there. I might as well get the other vehicles, right? And I didn't want them. I like the Havoc. I don't need a chrome-plated Havoc with frickin' brown guns and missiles. We'll actually take a look at those vehicles really quick. Why not? So this has been me rating and babbling about the figures. We're gonna review the vehicles really quick. Really quick, I'm not gonna let this go. I'm not gonna let this go. It's not gonna focus, is it? That nose, the shape of that jaw, the eyes, the mouth, everything. This is Ed Harris with a flat top in blackface. I'm sorry. Come on. It's Ed Harris. They did this a lot. There's lots of other Joes that look like people, like Falcon looking like John Wayne. It's known. It is known. Was this on accident? Was this on purpose? I don't know. But those cheeks threw me off. I'm like, I've seen those cheeks. I've seen them cheekbones. That's Ed Harris. Okay, I was right. There are only 4. So actually, I'm glad I did not buy the Skyhawk because you know what? Like I said, then I would have been halfway there. That kind of sucks they didn't do at least one more. There's 6 guys, right? There's 6 guys, and there's only 4 vehicles. You know, throw in something else. Throw in a Vamp and a Ram in Chrome. That would have been awesome. What the hell? Throw in a Slugger. The thing that bugged me about the team, Sky Patrol, it sounds like they are patrolling the skies. They're airborne troops. They drop into an area via parachute. The parachute is not the end-all be-all. It's the means of delivering them quickly to somewhere so they can go whoop some ass on the ground. Sky Patrol sounds like 2 different things. Anti-aircraft, which the Sky Havoc makes sense. You're driving around the ground, and we're going to say those cannons are for, you know, ground-to-air defense. The missiles, yeah, I don't know. The missiles don't factor into it. But 3 of these things are air vehicles. Well, okay, the Sky Havoc has a little hovercraft, but that's not the primary vehicle. So I remember when these came out, even back then, my OCD was like, no, what are they doing? Sky Patrol and Chrome aircraft made them seem like they patrol the skies. They're pilots. They're flying around. They're like Ace and Slipstream and Ghost Rider. They are patrolling the skies. They're not ground troops parachuting in. This made them seem like vehicle drivers primarily. And it's kind of an even shittier thing than what they did with Battle Force 2000. Battle Force 2000, at least for whatever reason, I liked the characters. They looked distinct and interesting and high-tech for the time. A lot of people think that's, I went downhill from there. No, whatever, shut up, it's fine. It's fine, it got way worse, and you know what, we survived it. But Battle Force 2000, the idea was experimental vehicles, high-tech stuff being tested for use on the battlefield. And the vehicles were kind of all over the place. Yes, primarily they're ground vehicles, but there's a hovercraft and that looks more like a helicopter that flies at higher heights, it looks like. And then there's the Vector jet. But everything else is a ground vehicle, either a tank or a snow tank or an off-road four-wheel drive vehicle or a half-track motorcycle tank thing that I didn't bid on enough and I lost by $1 the other day, and I'm still butthurt about that. But Sky Patrol, in theory, if you're a completist and you want everything, yeah, these are prestige-looking vehicles. Look at the sky. The Shark looks freaking awesome. If I bought the Skyhawk, I could have also got a Shark once he got some additional parts for it. But then I got to get the Sky Raven, right? That's going to be ridiculously, prohibitively expensive. Then you got to deal with, just R2-D2 or C-3PO being vacuum metallized, or Destro's head being vacuum metallized is bad enough with how it ages. Now you're looking at something even bigger that's probably been bumped around, rubbed, stored improperly, and no, I don't want to get into that. And the Sky Raven doesn't even come with the drone. So no, screw that. And then the Havoc, I don't think I give a shit about. Again, I like the idea. If I just had money to burn and was just buying one of everything, sure, I would get those. But for how I do my collection, what I do with it, what I like, what I don't like, what's more important to me is completing earlier waves, more iconic vehicles, and one-offs like this that came out later on that weren't heavily featured in a cartoon I was watching, I don't care about as much. So, again, the figures are awesome. For half of them are awesome. The vehicles, they could have been better. If there should have been a Conquest X30, hell, they should have been a Firebat. They should have done a Firebat in chrome. They should have done, I don't know. Hell, they should have done the Vector Jet in chrome. Why not? If they're called Sky Patrol, and you're losing sight of the fact that they're not vehicle drivers, they're paratroopers, and you're giving them vehicles, and the gimmick is the vehicles are chrome, okay, Skyhawk and Sky Raven and Sky Shark, yeah. Sky Havoc, not so much. Throw a Firebat in there. Hell, throw a Claw. Or the 87 Cobra Jetpack. Throw that in there. Throw the Pogo in there. Any of that shit. Anything would have been better than just having 3 decent planes, or whatever the Skyhawk is, and then the Havoc. Ugh. And the names were stupid. Sky this, Sky that. It's like Night Force, Night Boomer, Night Scrambler. I still to this day have to look up what each one is called. And that makes it really difficult to, like this thing here. This is the Night whatever. This is the Night Force version of the Persuader with Persuader silver parts on it. I'm still waiting for a turret and a silver cannon, but I put a bunch of bats on this and it was awesome. So Hasbro has a history of screwing up their recolors. The one that started it all, Tiger Force, was awesome, right? They went just hog wild on those paint schemes. The names weren't great. Tiger Rat, Tiger Paw. Like, in the end, just come up with a whole new name. Make something else up. Then you've got that copyrighted and do another vehicle later on that's better. I don't know. But, yeah. Could have been better. Could have been much better. Let's get this out of the way. So, actually, I'm going to move this. Oh, Sky Patrol just hit the ground. And they weren't running, let me tell you. You can see a preview of what's to come, waiting in the wings. So that's now spoiled. Maybe I'll do that today. That's way more figures, but it's less characters. So it should be way shorter. So winner of the file card chili cook-off here. This guy. Awesome file card. Stupid looking face. Kind of looks like J. Jonah Jameson, just without the Hitler stash. Winner of the best figure out of the entire thing, this guy. So yeah, Next up, I think, since I found a straight arm snake eyes, and 2 days later, I found a swivel arm snake eyes, I think it's time to review snake eyes. Mainly because I want to hurry up and put all these guys away. Because I've got 15 snake eyes up here right now. And just putting everybody away for this video was annoying. And now I got to put Sky Patrol away. And now I got to arrange the snake eyes. But you know what? I think I'm going to just do it. Get that out of the way today too, and get 2 videos up, and then do a couple of shorter ones while I've got everything, the momentum going. And it had been a while since I did a video. This one was way longer than I meant it to be, but it's fun. It's fun. Maybe not for you. It's fun for me, right? That's what counts. Anyways, like, share, and subscribe on that note. And yeah, give me some suggestions. Let me know what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Maybe I'll take it under advisement. All right. Thanks for watching, though. You guys take care.